Welcome to the lighter side of the spectrum, the podcast that celebrates the multiple hats we wear and the juggling acts we perform in life. Whether you're parenting kids and teens on the autism spectrum, navigating the ever-evolving healthcare industry, or building a more inclusive and impactful world, this is your space to find connection, inspiration, and growth. Together, we'll share stories, tackle challenges, and explore how innovation and inclusion create better outcomes for everyone. Because no matter the spectrum, there's always a lighter side. Now here's your host, David Kaufer.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the lighter side of the spectrum. And this is the podcast where we challenge assumptions, spotlight breakthroughs, and tell the real stories of families navigating autism with love, honesty, and sometimes a little bit of laughter, too. Today's topic hits close to home with many families, particularly this time of year. We were just talking about this. It's one of those conversations that's both urgent and empowering. And what we're going to be talking about is water safety and autism. So unfortunately, drowning remains, I believe, the leading cause of death among autistic children. And, that's just one of those sobering truths that we all live with. But, it's something we hear about on a regular basis, sadly, but there is hope. There are people such as our guest today who are working on this. And that's what we want to talk about: hope, access, and the kind of support that literally saves lives. So with that, I want to introduce today's guest, and that's Dayna Harvey, or Miss Dayna, founder.
Dayna.
Miss Dayna, I love that. I love our correspondence. The founder of Swim Safety with Miss Dayna program. She's a certified swim instructor with more than 25 years of experience and a heart for working with kids who think, feel, and move differently, like those we talk about on our podcast here. So her approach blends safety, structure, and compassion, and the impact she's having on families is nothing short of extraordinary. So Dayna, thank you so much for joining me today on the lighter side of the spectrum.
Invitation. I'm so glad that we could finally get here.
So we're recording this, as we said, in April. So it's very timely. It's the time of year we're getting springtime. People are thinking about swim lessons. Of course, water is everywhere across this country. And we know that the kids are drawn to it. But, before we dive into kind of the program itself, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and kind of what drew you to this specifically?
Well, I'm from Vancouver, British Columbia originally. I live in Roanoke, Virginia now. And in 1998, I was back in the Vancouver area. I was coaching a swim team, and one of my swimmers was about 9 or 10 and just really displaying behaviors that were beyond anything that I had experienced before. Just, socially, listening, all of these things. So I pulled his parents aside and said, "Can we sit down and talk?" Because I really felt like I was failing their son. I was not helping him become a better swimmer. And so in that meeting, they said to me, "Well, again, our son was diagnosed with autism, but we don't want to tell anybody because we don't want him to be labeled." And that really stuck with me. And in that same year, one of my very closest friends from high school, her daughter was diagnosed with autism. So that was 2 years before I left to move to the US. So, the internet wasn't what it is now.
No, not even right.
The topic wasn't talked about the way that it is now. And it just kind of stuck with me that was something that I needed to pursue. When I got here to Roanoke, I started teaching a few swim lessons, kind of because it makes me a better person when I do. One of the first kids I had at that point, she was diagnosed with Asperger's. So again, I didn't really mean for this to happen. I just truly believe that when you are put on the planet to do something, you don't get to walk away. So now I've been here in Roanoke 22 years. I run the largest independent swim program, so it's me. I do all the teaching. I teach about 240 children a week. And
holy cow! Wow,
it's a lot. I'm grateful
crazy.
Again, I love it. And I would say that probably right now, probably 20 to 25% of my program are children that would be neurodivergent. So not just kids with autism. I mean, I have some of those. I have verbal, nonverbal. I have sensory processing disorders. I got kind of lots in that mix, but these are children. So in my world, I just call them all my special learners.
Yeah.
And so I've created a program for them that helps me be a better teacher, but puts them into the best learning environment for them, that I can produce. And so about 7 years ago, I got to work with a little boy. His name is Jackson, and he was nonverbal. He was an eloper. He had zero risk aversion. So, I mean, kind of checked the boxes for all of the things that, that scared his parents. So he came into lessons, and, fast forward 7 years, Jackson is a very big reason why I did what I did, what I've created, and then the continuing education that I have moved forward through. So what most parents do not know, if we're going to just talk about swim lessons real quick, is that swim instructors in the United States do not need to be certified. Okay, like a facility can. Yeah.
Wait, what?
There is no certification
Wow.
mandate for swimming lessons. Okay, so a facility, let's just say a city rec center, they can say, all right, in order to teach in our program, you have to have a teaching certification. The two big ones are YMCA and Red Cross.
Okay.
But there is no guarantee that, if your certified instructors are out sick, that they wouldn't just drop a lifeguard into a class and teach.
Right.
Okay. There is nobody holding anybody accountable to that. So then on top of that, there is no requirement for anybody to work with children with special needs of any kind to have any kind of specialized training.
Wow. That doesn't surprise me as much as the certification, but yeah. Okay, go on.
So I have gone through a program, or I continue to go through a program called Autism Swim. It is a program out of Australia.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and it's all virtual learning. So, you go through the modules and you learn. For me, I don't need to know how to teach a child to blow bubbles or kick their feet or, the foundational basics of swimming. I needed help understanding how their bodies work and their minds work. And I needed some tools and some resources to help me be a better teacher. So by the end of hopefully the end of April, I will be level 3 certified with them. And then I will go on and take their gold certification and be one of just a handful of instructors in this country that have that level of certification. I don't do it necessarily because it makes me be a better instructor. I do it because it continues to help me understand how autism works. And it gives me more in my arsenal to be the best teacher that I can be for my students.
Well, I was going to say, I'm sure that is a byproduct. I'm sure you are a better, instructor for these students. So. Yeah. I have no doubt. Just because again, so much of it is just understanding some of the things you talked about, sensory needs, their body, how these are things again as parents that we've had to learn. Either directly or not, over the years, assumptions that we make as neurotypicals that aren't, we find are just false, and it could be really dangerous in this case. And so I want to kind of get back to the topic at hand, which is, again, it is the leading cause of death. I can tell you. So my son Stone is 19. He can swim now. We went through the YMCA. We did some swim lessons. It took some while, took a while for him to really be a swimmer. So knowing the statistics, seeing the stories, it was the scariest thing ever. And because they love water. They love, right? It's so good for them. The sensory needs, they talk about how free they feel in this water. So they're drawn to it naturally. So like I said, I was like a hawk, even when we went to, to the community pool, man, you talk about like nerve wracking until he got to the point where he really was a good swimmer.
Yeah. Obviously, going to the pool is not necessarily fun for parents. It's not. It's work.
Oh, no. That was nothing relaxing at all.
No, and it should be that way. I know we want to go on, ooh, it's fun, but I mean, we have to be hyper diligent. And it's not just, neurodivergent kids. I'm always speak to neurotypical parents as well. The same rules apply. We just have to adjust how we do it and how we manage it and how much we practice it, so that these things become muscle memory with our children.
What do people From your experience, can you talk about what do most people just not understand about the risks of water for kids, and particularly again with those, autistic kids?
Yeah, well, I think there's three big kind of myths all under one umbrella. The swim lesson industry and the water or the drowning prevention community have allowed parents to think that swimming lessons equals water safety.
Mm-hmm.
They've allowed
Right.
parents to think that life jackets equal water safety. And
Mm.
then they've allowed parents to think that gates, locks, and alarms equal water safety. None of those things are true. Those three things are components, they are strategies of water safety, but water safety is so much bigger than all of that because swimming lessons are not accessible to every single family
Right.
for a variety of reasons. Life jackets, I've got in open water life jackets, but again, our children may not process the difference between I need a life jacket at the lake and not at the pool, or at the pool and not. And we're not clear in maintaining those pathways for them. And then gates, locks, and alarms, absolutely mandatory, but they are fallible because humans must interact with them.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So we cannot say any one of those three things equals water safety. And if you do any of those things or all those things, it guarantees safety, because it doesn't. We have to employ a whole bunch of other strategies as well, utilizing them all together. Because truly, if what we're doing right now worked, what my industry and the drowning prevention community says worked, we would not be where we're at.
Have you
And,
seen
and
an improvement? I mean,
no, it's worse.
it's
Last year was
worse.
last year, so the
Oh,
NAA, the
that's
National Autism Association, and missingkids.org put out
right.
that there were 80 children, I think it was children that had elopement issues that led to a death. And I think 72 of them were drownings
Mm.
in 1 year.
Yes.
So
One
this year
year.
already,
Wow.
yeah, I think we're at 14 or 15 this year already. And last week alone, through media, I am fully aware of 4 in the last 10 days, I guess, 10 or 11 days. And then there's word of another 2 or 3 more. I can't say for sure because I've been searching for where that information
Yeah.
come from and I can't find it. But, if there were 10 children or 74 children last year that were killed in a parking lot because they got hit by a car, something would be happening. Something would be changing. And it's not. We're talking, the statistics are out there. 160 times greater risk of drowning than neurotypical children.
That's
Number one
huge.
cause of death. And we just keep talking statistics, and then we say swimming lessons, gates, locks, alarms, and barriers, life jackets. Nothing else changes, and we end up worse than we were last year. So
Yeah.
that is my goal in all of this, is to help parents. I don't want them to feel hopeless. I don't want them to go, well, I guess this is just something we're going to have to deal with. I want to
Right.
educate and empower parents because together we can make a difference and turn this around.
Well, I was just gonna say, do you think part of the problem, I mean, that's really staggering that it's going up. I mean, why is it just lack of information? Is it just I mean, I guess we could speculate it, but
Yeah.
that's really surprising that it's going up. And yeah,
Well, I think cell phones are a problem.
yeah.
Um,
Oh,
I think
okay.
I
Yeah.
think being distracted as a parent, just in general. But again, around water, I don't care if it's the bathtub or the pool or when you're at a family party and there's a hot tub. We have to be, like you said, fully engaged when there is any water nearby. I think parents have become a little less on edge about it, despite the fact that their children don't have any more skills than before. We're just not understanding really how serious it is and that it's that fast.
Which is,
It's
what's surprising about that, Dayna, is that you would almost think it'd be the opposite these days, right? Because we kind of joke about like how hyper vigilant parents are in so many other ways. We talk about the helicopter parents. You've got
Mhm.
the parents that they won't let their kids walk to school. Like in so many other areas, it seems like we've kind of gone overboard, with some of the
Yes.
um, you know, being so concerned about safety, this and that, that you've seen it kind of tilt the other way when it comes to water safety. I just think it's interesting, right? I mean, I can't read it
It is,
any particular way.
and you're right. And one of the analogies that I use, and I think life jackets or flotation devices have also played a big role in this because parents feel like, oh, we put that on and they go in the water and we're safe. Like that,
I
that's
think I
just,
could see where that would be a huge
yeah.
misconception, right? Like
And
you feel like, okay, we're good, we're
yeah,
good.
yeah, we're good. We're our heads above water, we're golden. So the analogy that I use for parents who want to argue with me about that, I say, all right, so you're gonna put an orange vest on your child and you're gonna walk out of the grocery store and you're gonna let them navigate their way to the car by themselves. Yes? They're like, well, no. All right. Well, how about this
Great.
one? We are in a buggy in the grocery store and you're in aisle 1 and you need something in aisle 3. You're just going to leave them in aisle 1 and go and they'll come back, right? They're like, no. All right. Well, then around water, we've got to stop doing that. And I call it inappropriate independence. We have allowed our children to go into water and be on their own inappropriately. So in my and you'll hear some water people will say, oh, children should ask for an invitation to go. I also disagree with that because that means a child is in the water on their own and we're
Yeah.
teaching that muscle memory. So in my program, the children receive an invitation to join me when I am ready. So I go in and each child gets an invitation to come and sit on the side of the pool and to wait. And again, the goal is I run 4 children per class. I don't do one-on-one lessons. So I'm navigating a group at any one given time. But I
I,
want the parents to
I'm I'm
see.
I'm in awe of you already. Just like the thought of being like 4 kids and doing anything, let alone like swim lessons. It's just
But
that's
it's children will rise to the occasion.
yes,
And
yes,
again,
absolutely.
I don't care where we are at on the spectrum or not on the
Yeah,
spectrum. Children will rise to the occasion when they are given a set of instructions and they are given consistent, it's not discipline, it's, just consistent reinforcement
structure,
that
boundaries. Yeah,
this is the
right.
way that it's going to happen. And so to show the parents, you can ask your children to do this because if they will do it for me, they will do it for you. You just have to require it of them. So, so in my program, my parents know that if you're going to go to the pool, be prepared to get in and invite your child in. Because you know what happens, David, when let's say we're in a group of people and we're busy doing something and our child comes up to us, be it verbal or nonverbal, when they pull on our shirt, get our attention and they point and we're busy, we're like, yeah, yeah, yeah. We're not really engaged in what they were just asking. So
Yeah,
by allowing permission-based entry into water, we set ourselves up for, I'm gonna go. Okay, good, go. And then they're on the bottom of the pool because they didn't have their life jacket on, because nobody was in
yeah,
there and they don't have the skill set to save their life. So yeah, so I
yeah. And that
really,
gets back to what you were talking about. I could see like with the with the cell phones and
yep,
just being preoccupied again. That's probably you see that in other aspects of today's society, right? The attention
yep,
span, you don't necessarily have people who are willing to be bored, or like sort
right.
of hyper vigilant. It's not exciting if you're sitting there at the pool just watching your kid.
It's not
Yeah.
visiting with your friends,
But it's not
not
supposed
drinking
to be exciting. It
alcohol.
doesn't have to be entertaining or exciting. I mean,
No.
that's,
And taking pictures. So the mantra in my program is cell phones down so children don't drown. Um,
I
I
love
had one
that.
well, I had one parent very offended by that, and I said, sorry, I don't know what you want me to say. Like, sorry,
Right.
not sorry. I'm not sorry. I don't believe in 2 things. I don't believe in judging and I don't believe in fear mongering. What I do believe in is telling the truth.
Yeah.
And it's not fun truth sometimes. But in telling the truth, a parent cannot turn around and say, oh, well, you didn't tell me, or I didn't know. You may not have liked it. And I can't make parents do anything, but I definitely will not stop until all parents have heard what I have to say, the strategies that I want to lay out to help them, not make their life more difficult. I want to make it easier. And at the beginning, it might seem like it's a little harder, but it does get easier. And so one of the things, again, that I teach in my program is where there's water, I will wait.
Yeah, that's a great segue. Excuse me. I was going to say, because I wanted to ask you, I know you're talking about your program, but you also created the, your Wading Whales water safety kit too. Yeah, there you go. You've got, you're all decked out.
So this is Wilson, my orca. Wilson is actually my representative for autism. It was very important to me. So I have 5 whales total. You can't see them all, but it was very important to me when I was creating this program about waiting that all children were represented, firstborns, secondborns, babies. But Wilson has a twin, and this is Winnie.
Oh, okay. Oh, this is great.
She's the narwhal. She is deaf.
Oh, wow.
So she has a cochlear implant. I wanted parents again to know that I was hearing them when they said we're not being heard, we don't have enough resources. So Wilson represents my neurodivergent following, and Winnie represents those children who have an outward disability that people could see.
Okay.
And and then everybody else is just Willow's the baby. She's just the baby dolphin. But yeah, so one of the most powerful things in my program is the word wait. When other instructors or parents say, how do you get 4 2-year-olds or 4 3-year-olds to sit down and just stay on the side of the pool without putting themselves in the water or getting up and running away? I'm like, because that's my expectation. The rule is we sit down on our bottom, we put our hands on our lap. So I'll back up to Jackson. So I think it was 7 years ago now. He's now 10 or almost 10. Because he wanted to be in the water without a skill set, I had to figure out a way how to keep him on the side of the pool when I was working with the other kids. So sometimes he'd ride on my back because he was very tactile. And that was good. That was fine. But I used a blue kickboard and I put that on the side of the pool. So our starting point and our ending point each had a blue kickboard. And so when Jackson was done his turn, he would climb up and I'd say, oh, the direction was Jackson on your blue mat. And when we first started, I had to have his mom stand behind him. So when he'd go to get up, she'd set him back down and we'd say, no, on our blue mat. And within probably 3 lessons, we were no longer needing his mom to be a part of that.
Wow,
He'd
that's
pop
great.
up, sit on his mat, wait his turn. He could stem, he could splash the water as long as his bum did not get a mat.
That was the rule. That was the expectation.
And he, again, this is a nonverbal little boy.
Yeah.
And he absolutely understood what was being asked of him. So that's how I navigated. And then as his skill set became stronger and his impulse control got better, I put this kickboard on the side of the pool with the other students, and I'd keep an eye and make sure when he started to lean over and wanted to really hit the water hard, I knew, okay, that's the amount of time. And then we had to move the kickboard back onto the side of the pool.
Okay.
So, it was all up to Jackson. Some days he would work the entire 30 minutes from the side of the pool. Other days we were not even going to attempt it because that's the communication that he and I had. So 2 years ago, I was traveling and talking to so many people about weight and the mats. And I was like, what animal could I put with the word wait? What animal is patient? So I Googled it, and on that list was whales. I'm like, well, the waiting whales, it just fit. So all the whales are W whale. But out of that, I produced what I call my water safety kit.
Oh, great.
So the kit comes in this box. Says the waiting whales.
Yeah, the Wading Whales water safety kit. Okay, yeah.
And then inside there's three components. So I'm gonna we use Barricade tape. Children, especially again with autism, very, very visual. So the first thing I needed to do was to work on stop, closed. The water is not accessible to you right now. So I have a red Barricade tape and it says closed, I will wait. So in swim lessons, I put down, this goes in between me and the pool and the children.
Okay.
And every day we talk about the tape is closed before lessons. Tell me what the tape means. Oh, Miss Dayna, the pool's closed. I'm like, just this spot in the pool or the whole pool? Oh, the whole pool is closed. And then together we open the tape and then I get in and then I invite them in. So again, parents can utilize this wherever they go. You can go to the beach and you can close the water from where you're sitting on the sand to the water closed. We're not going past that point. In a hotel pool, at the lake, I've got one family, they've got a lakefront, they put it across the dock. So there's no access to the dock, it's closed. The doorway leading
and
down.
Kids respect that. You're like, so you're saying like
Yes.
They've learned.
I mean, we do it in other places, right? We don't want them to run out in the parking lot, so we teach them wait. We teach them that those things are off limits. This is just a very visual tool to make sure that it happens. So for daily practice, parents put this tape up wall to wall in the bathroom, and it's up all the time. So the tub, the water, the handles, it's all closed until we are ready for that to happen. So then when it's bath time, we prepare, and then together we open the tape, and then we give an invitation to get into the bathtub. So it's, again, teaching muscle memory in our brains.
Right. That's so smart.
That all water is closed. And that's why I use the word water. Where there's water, I will wait. Not where there's a pond or there's a pool.
Or whatever.
Right.
Any kind of water. Yeah. Well, because
So I had another family that had a pool that their back door went out onto the deck and the pool was there. So there was no fence right around the pool itself. So we created a waiting area. And again, when I first did it, it was kind of with rope and ribbon. And inside of that area, we put fun things. So it's like a checkpoint. We don't go from the door to the pool without being in the checkpoint first. So that rope and ribbon has turned into this blue Barricade tape that says, I will wait here.
Yeah.
So parents can create a space. So again, at the beach.
I like that idea of having like I said, a waiting area. And I mean, it's a good conditioning for them.
So let's just say we use the analogy or the story of the pool that's right outside the door. Okay. So ideally the tape would be across the door. It's closed, right? So we're not going out that door because it's not available.
It's off limits, right?
Right. But let's say we forgot to put the tape back up one day and we have a child who likes to push boundaries and went, well, I'm going to go out there. Then we have a checkpoint. The next reminder that is closed. This is where we go next. And then all around the pool, we use the red tape. So on the railings, handles, on the diving board, on the slide. I mean, I have one family that had to do their whole pool. And again, as the children learn
it's very tools, visual. Yeah.
And we use them less. Like now in my classes, my kids read, if I don't close the pool, the kids are like, Miss Dayna, you didn't close the pool. And so there's no getting around it now. That is their expectation. And if I don't hold up my end of the bargain, they're calling me out on not following my own guidelines. But yeah, so then the most important part of the weight concept is Jackson's blue kickboard. So this is just a kickboard material. All of this is waterproof, but we turned it into a weighting mat that parents, again, can take with them on vacation. We can use this in the bathroom. Each whale it has their own mat, but we're only talking about Wilson today. So But yeah, so those three components are teaching children where there's water, I will wait. We're teaching them boundaries around water, when it's open, when it's closed, how close can we go to it? And then we give them an actual visual, tactile thing to be able to wait on until they are given that next set of instructions. So,
That's awesome. That's
it's
really
such a
cool.
powerful tool. And and then I work with families with children with autism. We talk about how to start them. We use what's that game? Like not Yahtzee, but Boggle, when they got the
Oh yeah.
little timer. So, we work on that. We work 10 seconds, we work 15 seconds. We just continue to work until we build up, a couple minutes of being able to wait on that mat. We use it if we go to the park, we take it with us. I encourage parents to the E in what I teach is I encourage exposure. You can't keep them from it, because
No.
when you do that, they want to go.
Oh,
So
absolutely.
we're going to allow them to go to it, and we're going to teach them how we're going to interact with that water. And so I've got, a lot of other little strategies for parents that they can employ, but these are the kind of the big ones, because I truly believe if we could teach our children, not if, when we can teach our children to wait around water, we will see drowning numbers decline, because they're not going in. We're not teaching them to not go in.
Yeah.
That
There's
is
nothing,
the
there's
biggest
nothing
hurdle.
stopping them, basically. There's nothing. Yeah.
And when we do go, a lot of times, like I said, we put a device on them and we let them go on their own. So
yeah,
if
and
they
we think they're
elope,
safe, and they think they're safe, or they don't even
yeah,
think about being safe or not. When you're a kid, you're just whatever.
no,
You're just
it's not
you're
about
just
safety for them. It really is about the boundaries and the
this.
consistency for them, the ongoing, repetition of same.
I had a
Yeah,
quick
so
question with the water safety kit. So is that only available through your program? Are you making that available? So how can others access it? Are you teaching others to utilize it?
yeah, it is available on my website. The water safety kit, it's $79.97 with free
Okay.
shipping. And then on the inside of the box in here, this is a QR code. Can you see that right there?
Yeah. Yep.
It's
Yep.
a QR
Well,
code
we can put that up on the show
that
notes
parents
too.
can go to, and then it runs them through. I think the video is about 20 or 25
Oh,
minutes
cool.
where I walk them through each of the
How to
water
use it.
scenarios. Yep,
Oh,
how to
awesome.
set it up in your bathroom, how to set it up when you go on vacation to the beach or the lake. It again, none of this matters if the education isn't there.
Right.
It just
Right. You can't
becomes
just
something. Well, it's just another toy. It's just another thing we bought for our kids
yeah.
that we don't use. And I want parents to use this more than anything in the world. I want them to daily use this with their children, because I don't want to have another summer where I'm on the
Yeah.
road traveling and every other day I get another notification of a drowning.
Yeah. Yeah. It's heartbreaking. Every single time
It
I
is.
read about it, it's heartbreaking because it's just
Yeah.
so it is truly preventable. I hope you're enjoying the lighter side of the spectrum. So far, we're commercial free, but if you're finding value here, one way to support the show is by considering me for a speaking engagement. I speak on unlocking potential, whether it's for individuals like my son or for entire organizations. I also offer fractional CMO services for businesses needing strategic marketing support without the full-time commitment, drawing on over 35 years of experience in marketing. My agency has helped companies and healthcare practices increase their value, grow, and even prepare for acquisition. To learn more about my speaking topics, visit davidkaufer.com. Or if you're interested in our marketing or fractional CMO services, check out kaufermarketing.com. If you're enjoying this episode, please leave a review. Your feedback means a lot, and it helps me make this podcast even more useful. Lastly, don't forget to share it with anyone who would appreciate the insights and stories we're sharing here. Thanks again for listening. So one of the segments, we talked about this before, we like to have is our tip of the week. And I know you talk strategies, but we're going to go and cue up the our little intro to tip of the week, because I have a question that will kind of tie to that.
Perfect.
Hey parents, gather around, it's time to speak. We're here with your tip of the week. Strategies and wisdom just for you. Autism parents, we know what you go through.
All right, and it's time for our tip of the week. So, we were talking earlier about the lack of certification, among swim programs around the country.
Yes.
So what tip do you have for parents who may not be able to visit you in Virginia? What types of programs should they be looking for? What types of questions should they be asking when they get their kids? Because we know it's super important to get the swim lessons and get water safety lessons and all that. So how would you help them?
All right. So the first question that you should ask at any program, be it in a building or a private instructor like myself, are you certified? Or is the instructor that's going to work with my child certified to teach swimming lessons? A. B, do they have certification to work with children with special learning needs? And again, they may say no. And then you as a parent have to make a decision whether or not that's a non-negotiable for you.
Right.
I would ask why. Why, if you're offering integrated swim lessons or adapted aquatics is kind of a catchphrase right now. If you're offering that, why are your instructors not certified? And again, I'm not saying that a piece of paper, a course makes you a good instructor, or that having it, not having it doesn't make you a good instructor. I'm not saying that. I'm saying ask the question, because as a parent, you have the right to know the answer so that you can make the best decision possible for your child. Another question that I would ask is, will my child have the same instructor for every class? Do you guarantee that?
That's important.
Consistency. I mean, if that's not the case, if they put in a different instructor every couple days, it's like having a day one over and over and over and over, and it's like, I mean, it's not
especially
fair.
when you talk about like emotional regulation,
Yes.
right? I mean, a lot of those things, that's so important, especially again with younger kids.
Yeah, I mean, it's any children, but for children who thrive on routine, who thrive on knowing what's going to happen, we want to make sure that we are meeting that need. We can't just throw different people at them every time and then expect them to be successful. That is unfair and it is unkind. And as a parent, ask the questions. And when you get to the no that you're not comfortable with, move on to the next program. Or the next private instructor and do all of that. I actually, on the website, I have the 10 questions that I encourage families to ask. So parents can go there and download that. But
great
those
resource.
are the two big ones. The third one that I would say is if you've decided, yes, this is the program, or it's in the running to be the program, ask to be able to watch that instructor who's going to have your child work with a class. Just see how they are.
Get a feel for it. Like, that's really smart. Yeah.
I'm not for everybody. I am not. I'm a little bit of tough love and a lot of being
I can
silly.
I can see that. But that's
these
not
are
for
lives
everyone.
We're dealing.
Yeah.
It's not for
seriously.
Everybody. Thank goodness. Thank goodness it's not for everybody, because I've got too many kids. But you should, as a parent, you're going to know your child best. If that instructor looks like they're doing great, then ask to speak to the instructor. And ask if that program has any references that they'd be willing to share with you so that you could speak to another parent. And if they're not willing to do those things, then to me, that's something to hide. And I would move on from that. But those are a few.
Yeah, that's great. Those are great tips.
Not just
and
one.
Like I said,
Sorry.
and there are other, no, that's we
I
like
don't know how to do just one of anything. I
spread
don't know
it
how
out.
to do that.
All right, our other segment is Autism Fact or Fiction. We're calling the swimming edition. So we're gonna go ahead. Of course, we have an intro for that too.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Get QuickTime ready, and here we go. This is Autism Fact or Fiction. We're breaking down what's real, what's rumor, and what might surprise you. Let's go.
All right, time for fact or fiction, autism. I don't, Dana, do you have any like stereotypes or anything that you would want to break down? Because I have one that I was going to throw out there.
Okay, you do yours first, and I'll see
Okay.
then if what I want to do matches.
Well, I was going to say, fact or fiction that neurodiverse or kids who are on the spectrum are unable to compete on the swim team
That's
competitively.
not true. Not true at all.
Right.
Again, my very first introduction to a child with autism was on a competitive swim team. How we work with them, how we explain the rules of swimming. Again, each child is different where they're at in their autism journey. But as a coach, every child is teachable, every child is coachable, and that's their lack of success is on the coach, not on the child.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I totally agree.
So,
Like I said, I want to throw that because again, it gets
yeah,
down to some, societal expectations and perceptions,
yeah.
right? As regarding, these kids
Well,
or
the
kids.
family of the little boy that I first taught, I mean, they weren't doing, his older siblings all did swim team. I mean, they weren't doing it for him to win ribbons and medals and,
Yeah, for
go
the
to the
experience.
Olympics. They were doing it for the social aspect of it, to be able to learn how to interact with his peers and with adults and how to follow the structure of a practice. And really, honestly, an hour of exercise every single day did him wonders. So,
Absolutely.
we want to make sure that our expectations and our goals are met, and you do that by meeting with your child's teacher or your child's coach, and you have those very frank conversations. Even if they're hard, you need to have them, because again, on both sides of that, in the middle is a child that depends on our communication to help them to be successful, whatever that term is
Yeah.
for families. So I'll give you my biggest
Okay.
fact or
Yeah, let's hear it.
fiction. People will tell me all the time that children with autism are not going to be able to learn this concept of where there is water, I will wait.
Oh,
And I say, please don't underestimate them. I have a lot of children in my program who are probably have been termed early intervention, younger than 4.
yeah.
And I could send you video after video after
Oh,
video.
yeah.
When it is time for lessons, those little ones walk their little bodies over to their mats. They sit down. I have a conversation about open and closed. And for my nonverbal kids, they're closed or with eye contact. I know that they absolutely understand what's being asked of them. And they can be successful. If you doubt for 1 minute that your child can learn where there's water, I will wait. You are underestimating their ability to keep their own self safe.
I love that because that fits with our theme. I mean, our experiences as well. Presuming
Yeah.
competence, like you said, don't, for too many cases for too long. This is a population that has been underestimated.
Yes.
And in this case, like you said, could literally be a life or death situation. So
Yes.
unfortunately, Dana, we're getting to the end of our time here for today. So is there anything you wanted to say in closing before I kind of put a wrap on it?
Yes, I'm grateful for the opportunity to speak to all of the families that you are in your circle and that you influence, because the more that I can reach out and get this message out to everybody, the sooner that I'm going to be able to watch those numbers drop. Not deal every single summer with numbers that are just astronomical. But parents have to know that this is something that I need them to do. This is not something that's just going to magically happen and be
Right. You
magically
got to be
fixed.
proactive. You got to be proactive.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I'm here as that resource. I want to be that. If somebody gets a water safety kit and they're like, we're struggling to try to figure this out, I am a phone call or an email away. This is life or death, literally, for a lot of children. And I don't want anybody who has ever heard this information then to say, I just didn't know.
Yeah.
I just didn't.
Yeah. Well, that's what it's all about, right? For
Yep.
listeners, viewers, listeners, I hope you do share this. I hope you shared Dana's website. I'll give that to you again in a moment. But, it is It's easy to feel overwhelmed by the dangers, again, speaking from experience, but obviously what you
Yes.
heard today is that, hey, prevention is possible, support is here, and hope floats, pun intended. Swim safety isn't just about teaching kids to move through the water. It's about giving families peace of mind and giving children the freedom to explore the world around them with confidence. So to learn more about Miss Dayna's program, visit watersafetywithmissdayna.com. As always, thank you for being here. Thank you for listening and sharing, and for standing with us in this beautiful, complex, always on journey of raising kids who challenge the world in all of the best ways. So thanks again, and we'll see you next time on the lighter side of the spectrum.